Sports, where we review all the best sports clips from around the world. Now you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of any of the other channels? And that's because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They say this all the time. They don't even read any of the other comments. But I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. So I read every single comment. So if you think what I'm saying is the most ridiculous thing you've ever heard, let me know in the comments below. If you think what I'm saying is the most amazing thing, then definitely please let me know. Either way, let's get into some discussions, let's get into some fights, but ultimately, let's just have some fun. And please do consider subscribing. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of Undisputed talking about obviously the Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes, and whether or not how much has he closed the gap against Brady. This will be a conversation that we are going to probably have for years, and especially right now that he's already won 3 Super Bowls. And to me, this conversation is so fascinating because if we just looked at pure talent, you could draft these 2 quarterbacks. You don't know anything about them, what their future holds, how long both players are going to play, but we just saw what both of these players are capable of doing. You would probably pick Patrick Mahomes because Patrick Mahomes, for the most part, can do everything Tom Brady can and more. And so that's why people then say, well, he's already the GOAT. And then the real question is then what makes the GOAT the GOAT? Is it longevity? Is it peak excellence? Or is it how high you are and how long you sustain that? Where let's say Patrick Mahomes can get way higher than Tom Brady, but can't last as long, right? It's one of those things where he can win 5 Super Bowls, but not 7 Super Bowls. He can play until he's 38, but not 45, right? And it's like, so what's better? Kind of like Bo Jackson. Bo Jackson is considered to be one of the best athletes, one of the best players in the history of 2 sports, but he didn't play long enough. So no one ever really fully considers that. He couldn't even be in the Hall of Fame because of that. So that's always the age-old question. And so what made Tom Brady obviously so special is his longevity. And the truth is that there's no way to predict whether or not Patrick Mahomes will be able to do that. There's no way to know how he will age if when he is 33, 34, and he's a little bit slower. Does his game change? Is he just not as special now because of that? The thing that gives him the edge over Tom Brady, is that now not good enough? So to me, those are the biggest questions. I really want to hear what these guys have to say and kind of go from there. So let's get right into it.
You know what I think about, and I'm gonna tell you guys, when we had this little thing with, meaning the Dallas Cowboys, had this little thing with Aaron Rodgers, where Aaron Rodgers was vexing us for a few years. I mean, every chance we got, he just vexed us and, beat us. And I was like, man, you can't beat this dude. You can't beat him. With that kind of talent, he should be winning 10 Super Bowls. I always said that when I saw what Aaron Rodgers did, and I always talk about his shoulders down, accountability, he has shoulders down, and he's a good decision maker, even shoulders up, but not like Tom Brady. Tom Brady makes the perfect decision. He stay cool, drives that ball down the field. He sees the game better than anybody. Aaron Rodgers has the physical skill set better than anybody.
Right.
Patrick Mahomes, I talked about this on the show Sunday, is an amalgamation of both of these guys. You see, he's all the physical skill set we've ever talked about that's so great at the quarterback position. Oh, my God, he does everything, and he's a real pure quarterback doing everything. He's not some athlete we turned into a quarterback. He has all the instincts in the world, and then he has all the understanding in the world to know when and how to pull a trigger. I always say it's great to know, boy, he's a great fighter. It's best to know who and when and how to fight. And not just be a great fighter, but know who, when, and how to fight. And that's exactly what he is. The way he won this Super Bowl, Tom had something. Because we would say, well, Tom raising people up. Tom won with Wes Welker. Tom won with Julian Edelman. None of those are greats. He had Tyreek Hill and he had Travis Kelce, but this year he didn't have that. Last year he didn't have it. He had a whole different set, and now he gets a whole new set and say, hey, come on.
Right.
get on my back. And he dragged them to a championship. He got 3 now.
Right, and you gotta
If
remember.
he gets 4, dog, if he gets 4, that puts him past that 4 mark with Joe and Bradshaw. You know, Joe and Bradshaw. You can start saying,
I don't know.
Dude.
I don't know, because
you're seeing what you're seeing, though. You're seeing what you're seeing. You're seeing the greatest talent at the position. You're seeing the way he's playing. Now he's raising people up because you've taken great talent from him, and you're getting the same results. The last 2 years, we're right back here. I got to start. I won't put my mouth against him again. That's what I'm going to say. I just won't speak against him again.
Yeah, I would say, because everybody says Tom never had anybody, but he always had Gronk. And he always has Travis. So they both always have the all-pro, all-world tight end that gets it done. Both of them have that safety blanket. So we always go through, they don't have anybody. He ain't got no weapons. Then you look at the Hall of Fame tight ends they got, and you're like, oh, well, I mean, other than him. And then you look at those big games, those big plays, who are always catching those passes, who are always getting them down, crucial situations, third down, third and long. Against Mahomes, you always bring it up, those 3 straight 3rd and 10s that he converted. All of them were to Gronk. And
no,
so,
one was the first to Edelman, then 2 to Gronk.
Go ahead. So I apologize.
Yeah, no, it's okay.
But I 4 I don't think is enough, because then you're not getting over Joe, because Joe's 4-0. Joe's undefeated, in Super Bowl games, played great in those Super Bowls. I understand what we're going to say, that Patrick's playing incredibly, but he still lost to Tom in a Super Bowl. Right. So it's hard to sit there and say, hey, he has less Super Bowls than him, and he lost to him in a Super Bowl, and he's greater than him. That's a tough one for me to say. I don't know if it'll get to 7, and I don't know if he needs to get to 7 for us to have that. But he has 3. He has 3 Super Bowl MVPs, 2 regular season MVPs. That's enough to have a conversation of him being on the Mount Rushmore of great players in the National Football League.
Listen, no. I understand, because you're doing.
Well, there's no conversation. He obviously is on the Mount Rushmore. That's not even a debate. He obviously is. So I don't even understand that. But like anything, all these players need a lot of fortunate things to go their way in order to be who they are. Tom Brady won some Super Bowls that were not necessarily because of Tom Brady's brilliance and genius and just goatness, so to speak. Just like Patrick Mahomes now has. Patrick Mahomes had a very fortunate series of events that led him to win this Super Bowl. Make no mistake about it. I feel like I have to keep saying this. I love Patrick Mahomes, love Andy Reid. I think, they are the best duo in the history of the NFL. And it's just not even close, to me. I'm not even really willing to entertain anything else. I mean, they are the best. But just looking at this game alone, Patrick Mahomes won that game, but the 49ers also lost that game. Okay? Patrick Mahomes had nothing to do with Christian McCaffrey's fumble, which just took points off the board. It looked like they were going to score a touchdown, at the very least a field goal. Patrick Mahomes had nothing to do with that punt return fumble, which then led easy touchdown for Patrick Mahomes. Okay? Patrick Mahomes had nothing to do with why that happened. He had nothing to do with the missed extra point. He had nothing to do with the weird coin flip, how they decided to go for the 49ers decided to take the ball first in overtime, which is absolutely asinine and insane. Insane. So he had nothing to do with that. He had nothing to do with why the 49ers decided to abandon the run in the second half or just rely on it a lot less. Doesn't make any sense. Truly doesn't make any sense. So, he also got to go up against Mr. Irrelevant, technically, right? The only time he really went up against a true elite quarterback in the Super Bowl was Tom Brady, and he lost. And that's kind of, in a way, what, he's talking about in there. But I wouldn't say that that's good enough. Like, I don't even think that just because you lose to Tom Brady in the Super Bowl means like you can't be better than Tom Brady, because you aren't playing against each other. This isn't one-on-one. Under that logic, we're then saying Draymond Green is better than LeBron James because Draymond Green beat him multiple times in the finals. So does that mean Draymond Green is better than LeBron James? Like, obviously not. And sure, the 4-0 is impressive of Montana, but like, I don't know. If Mahomes wins 4, but it wasn't 4-0, that means that he's just not good enough. That he's not like I don't believe that. He got to more Super Bowls than Montana then. And so if you do something more, you're going to lose, right? If you hand the ball off to someone and they get more touches, the more touches they have, technically the more fumbles they're going to have, because it's just a numbers game. It's just a numbers game. So you're going to get more losses. Don't get me wrong. When you're undefeated, it's very impressive, right? And that's what makes Michael Jordan being 6-0. But that's an even larger number. That's 6-0. That's a chunk, right? That's a chunk. 4 Super Bowls is a chunk too, but it's just different. It's just different, especially when the true GOAT, or at least someone who's better than Montana, at least, Tom Brady has 7. That's 3 more Super Bowls. So if 4 Super Bowls was the max and Montana was the GOAT, right? Kind of like similar what's happening with LeBron James and Michael Jordan, is where the whole thing is, if LeBron James won 6 championships, he didn't go 6-0. So then I could understand. So under that logic, I can understand where it's like, okay, well, Patrick Mahomes won 4, but he had to play in more Super Bowls to get there. Therefore, he's not as good as Montana. I see the logic. I do. But I just think there's so much more at play than winning a Super Bowl. Eli Manning beat the Patriots, Tom Brady twice in the Super Bowl. He's 2-0 against the Patriots, Tom Brady's 0-2 against Eli Manning. Does that mean that Eli Manning's better than Tom Brady? Does that mean that Tom Brady's just not as good as Eli Manning? That Eli Manning just gets the best of him and outplays him? Nick Foles is 1-0 against Tom Brady in the Super Bowl. Does that mean that Nick Foles is better than Tom Brady? Of course not. Of course not. No one thinks that. Eli Manning doesn't think that. The most diehard Giants fans don't think that. Eli Manning's parents don't think that. So it just doesn't really make sense. Like, those arguments to me don't always make the most amount of sense. I understand why we bring them up, and it's worth discussing and throwing into the pot, but it's just not the full truth. It's not the full reality. I don't know why we try to reduce sports to this. This guy beat that guy, therefore that guy is better than that guy. It's just stupid. It's just silly. That's just not the way it works. I guarantee you that there's players who have never won a championship, no matter what sport it is, baseball, basketball, soccer, football, whatever, that are better than majority of the players that have won, right? Dan Marino is that perfect example of that. Damian Lillard, Charles Barkley, there's some of these players, Reggie Miller. Some of these players are considered to be the greatest players to ever play their respective sports, and therefore they are but they never won a championship. Therefore, they are better than the vast majority, 95% of the people who have actually won championships. Because a lot of people who win aren't always good enough to win. And that's why I forget who said this, but he said anyone can win a championship, but not anyone can make the Hall of Fame. And they were talking about, this was specifically about basketball. I think it was Tracy McGrady who maybe said that. Because he never won, but he's in the Hall of Fame, and it's like, well, anyone can win a championship, which is true. You could throw me on the football team on the Chiefs, and I could be the last man on the roster and never get a single snap. But hey, I won. What's up? Got myself a ring. Let's go. So, and again, I'm not saying that that's what's happening with Patrick Mahomes or anything of that nature, right? Patrick Mahomes isn't being carried by the Chiefs by no means, but like all great players, they not only do great, amazing things, but also the ball needs to bounce their way. Tom Brady has won multiple Super Bowls by Tom Brady had nothing to do with that interception with the Seattle Seahawks. Nothing to do with that. Yet he won and got to do that, right? His first couple Super Bowls, he didn't light the other team on fire. Those were definitely really more defensive-led championships, and they won, right? So Patrick Mahomes has had a couple of those instances for him, whether it be in the playoffs leading up to the Super Bowl or outside of the Super Bowl. They literally changed an overtime rule because of how away Patrick Mahomes won. And, if that rule was different before, then who knows how that game would have unfolded. Again, it doesn't even matter at that point. My real point is that there's just so many different variables at play. And it's okay to acknowledge them. It's okay to admit that Tom Brady was very fortunate to win a couple of those Super Bowls, but he was also unfortunate to lose a couple of those Super Bowls because of Eli Manning's really lucky catch. Or obviously he didn't make the catch, but the throw, there was a couple insanely lucky catches that easily could have gone the other way. Then boom, Tom Brady is now winning 8 or 9 Super Bowls, right? That just completely changes it. And who would have ever expected Nick Foles to win that Super Bowl? But on the other logic, it's like, well, Tom Brady was very fortunate to go up against a backup quarterback in the Super Bowl, but they didn't win. Not necessarily fault to his own. He balled out. He played one of the best Super Bowls in the history of the Super Bowls. And it was a loss against a backup quarterback. Is that really Tom Brady's fault? No. So that's why my real point is you just can't use the magic number of 7 versus 3, 4 versus 3, 8 championships versus 2 championships, 3, this, that. Just doesn't work like that. It's just too complicated. There's too much to go into it. I think you got to use stats, championships, eye tests, and honestly, head-to-heads I really don't care about. I really don't, because you're just talking about 2 teams. It's not 2 individual players. Even if you're talking about basketball, it's a little bit better because they're actually on the court at the same time going head-to-head. But even that, does anyone really believe that the difference between LeBron James winning with Cleveland, not that first year against KD and stuff like that when they lost, is it just because LeBron James was just not good enough? He needed to score 70 points instead of 50 points, and that would have been enough? No. The Warriors had a better team. That's what it is. Steph Curry didn't prove that he's the better basketball player. Kevin Durant didn't prove that he was the better basketball player than LeBron. Just not the way it works. It's the team. Michael Jordan didn't win 1 versus 5, okay? He won with other Hall of Famers. Patrick Mahomes is winning with other elite Hall of Famers. Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill in the past. His offensive line, his left tackle. Those all things really, really, really matter. Just like they really, really, really mattered for Tom Brady. And, that's just the way it goes. But what do you all think? Do you think Patrick Mahomes, he's already the GOAT, move over Tom Brady? Let me know in the comments below. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts on this one. Please don't forget to subscribe. As I said, we are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.